Right. Welcome back to the Colony Pit. We are here with Matt Rehbit for part two. If you didn't check out part one, go to our YouTube channel at the Colony Pit on YouTube and check that out. And also, while you're there, if you could give us a like, a share, or a subscribe, we would really appreciate it so we can keep going, reviving the land of the garnet and gold. But Maddie, in part one, we talked about growing up Colony and what your interests were, and some of the people you hung out with and stuff. And then after high school, you went to SUNY Cortland, where you were a Red Dragon, and I'm sure you had tons of fun over there. When your undergrad college is over, tell us a little bit about kind of what your first maybe 5 years or so of life was like. Did you go right into the workforce? Did you go on for a graduate degree? And how did you get your first teaching job? Let's go with that.
Well, funny story. A man you know, Uncle Jerry. Uncle Jerry worked at St. Anne's, and that ended up being my first teaching gig. I was in between grad school, like, do I want to go to grad school? And back then, nobody was hired, especially somebody right out of school. So I was a phys ed teacher at St. Anne's Institute for a year. And then after that, moved down to Charlotte, North Carolina, just to get out of Albany, try something different. And I worked at a high school called Olympic High School. And then I knew I had to get graduate school out of the way. So I moved about an hour north to Greensboro, and that's where I went, UNC Greensboro. And then after that, it was Alex Tronco's wedding. I had to come back for Alex Tronco's wedding. I applied everywhere, nothing bit. Didn't know what I wanted to do. It's late August. And sure enough, Bethlehem called me. They had somebody, ironically, that got a job at Colonie. She had gotten a full-time position at Colonie. She left her part-time position at Bethlehem. And that's how I ended up there.
All right. So did you start out as a part-time teacher at Bethlehem?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
In fact, another funny story, I had to borrow clothes for my dad. It was like a extended weekend. I was in Alex's wedding, so I didn't have fancy clothes or anything. So I had to borrow like a shirt and a tie, nothing really fit, and did the interview and got it. And they said, all right, I think it was like 2 or 3 days later, you have new teacher orientation. So I had to fly to Greensboro, pack up all my stuff, drive back. I pulled into my mom and dad's house at midnight, 12:30, and we had new teacher orientation, 7 a.m. the next day.
Wow.
And I've been there ever since.
So how many years have you been at Bethlehem?
This is year 25. It was 99, 2000 was my first year. So 25th year with 5 to go. 5 to go.
Wow. Congratulations. Hey, I was just curious, when you were in Charlotte, what did you think of that high school compared to Colonie? Was it similar? Was it different? I mean, I'm always curious about high schools in other states. Are they kind of like Colonie, or are they like, I know in California, some of the kids there, like their first period is going surfing. And I just, I was trying to fathom, I'm like, hey, could I have done that in Colonie, going surfing? No, it's just a different mindset. But how was Charlotte?
It was very different. Unfortunately, a lot of kids would drop out. A lot of them, once they hit 16, they want to go in the workforce, which would never happen at Colonie.
Oh, wow.
It was very football, basketball oriented. And it was a bigger school. It was about the size of Colonie, maybe a little bit bigger. But like when you're talking about teacher to student ratio, I mean, I had classes like 47, 51, 42. I mean, they were huge classes. And when it came to like resources, like Colonie, they had one gym, or you go outside. It was tougher. Like it was a tougher environment. But again,
and what grades were these?
St. Anne's was a good experience. This was a good experience. Like I had a wonderful guy, Chancellor Chavis. I love this guy. Looked just like Morgan Freeman, just like him. And he was a wonderful mentor towards me, or for me, I should say. And had a good experience. I actually didn't want to leave, but I had to get grad school out of the way. And Greensboro had education, so that's how I ended up there.
And what grades were you teaching in North Carolina?
It was 9 through 12, and actually it was half health, half phys ed.
Oh, okay.
And and the other thing you notice clearly, like they didn't pay. It was. I think I made $21,000 that year.
Oh, wow.
So it was tougher. It was not easy, but again, wonderful experience. And I love this. Charlotte was awesome. It was a fun city. There was a lot to do. It's weird to say. We were just talking beforehand. We're all going through this heat wave. It's like this for 4 to 5 months down there, every single day.
Wow.
I mean, it was hot. And being a teacher, that's when you get your time off. I always say, it's like getting January and February off here. Like there's nothing you can do. It was so hot. It was brutal, but I
And,
still
and
liked it.
and just one last thing too. I was just curious, what was sports like down in North Carolina? Was it competitive, or was it like, would you say it's similar to Colony? I'm always curious because I know, again, in Florida, Texas, these powerhouse states, they take sports to a different level where it's like a religion. Colony is like, hey, I play football, basketball, and baseball. I mean, what was it like in North Carolina? Same intensity, different?
Well, I don't know if I know Rex will definitely remember this name. One of the rival schools was Providence. There's a guy by the name of Antoine Jameson. Everybody remember
Mhm.
Antoine Jameson? Like he was phenomenal. Went to North Carolina, but our team, and I think our team finished probably third. I think one kid couldn't dunk on the team. They would run like 3-on-2,
Wow.
2-on-1, and it was like a dunk. I mean, they were just incredible. There was a kid in my class, still remember his name, JJ White. JJ, we were playing 2-on-2 just for fun between classes. He was wearing Timberland boots. I threw the ball in on the post. He did a spin move and dunked with two hands. Kid was 14 years old. He did it in jeans and Timberland boots, and
Mm.
that's where there were some athletes, man. I mean, basketball that year we had two guys. One went to Indiana and one went to South Carolina. Still remember their names. George Leach went to Indiana and Calvin Clemens went to South Carolina. So and
Wow.
again, that was pretty much every school had a couple guys going big time. I think we had a linebacker that year that went to Michigan. I mean, it was definitely an upper level athletically, and they were
Wow. Okay.
very supportive of their sports. The town, everybody, sports were huge in that area.
Did have you when you got the job at Bethlehem, did you start coaching right away, or like how long have you been coaching in some capacity or other?
First year, again, it was almost the new guy by default. I got thrown into indoor track. Never ran track in my life, and I got shot put. They're like, you're going to run shot put, and then for outdoor, you're going to do shot put and discus. And you'll appreciate this. This is pre-internet. I mean, I was looking at books in the library. I'm trying to find these old videos, VHS tapes. You remember? And,
Yeah.
trying to this is how just so I didn't look like an idiot. But fortunately, a lot of this stuff was based around the weight room. So I'm like, all right, here's where I feel comfortable. And I had a good time. I loved it. Wonderful, wonderful coaches, really great guys. And it's funny, a lot of the Colonie guys, Coach Myers, still there. I don't know if
Yeah.
remember Mr. Casciuto, still
Oh, yeah.
there. I
Yep.
mean, it's crazy. And one thing I did find with track, they're very loyal to these kids. I mean, you got 100 and some kids, and man, they really care. They do everything they can to give these kids attention, give them feedback, and work with them. It was a good experience. I just wasn't any good at it.
Yeah.
It's hard teaching these kids. I tried throwing the kid through 10 feet farther than I could, and I'm his coach. But it was a good experience, and a lot of great kids. So
Yeah. How long have you been the varsity baseball coach at Bethlehem?
Well, I know that one. I know because I was 40 and I'm 50 now. It was 10 years ago. So
Okay.
Wow.
2014. And the following year was that 2000, 2001. 2001 was my first year on JV.
All
So
right.
what was that? 13, 14 years on JV and then 10 on varsity.
And this
Wow.
past season, as we mentioned in part one, congratulations. You were the New York State champions, along with Section 2 champions, obviously. So, phenomenal accomplishment. Tell us a little bit about this past season for you.
I get. I mean, it's actually cool. Roger Weiland bought DC's house. He lives right down the street from us, and he's been wonderful. He covers. He's done a lot of coverage for Bethlehem baseball. So has News Channel 10. I mean, really, the local scene here has done a nice job promoting our sport. Because again, I say this, it's no offense to baseball, but football, basketball, they're going to get the attention. Baseball's the third sport, and that's fine. But they really covered us, and it was I've said the best. I mean, I've had wonderful seasons there, wonderful kids. I've never experienced anything like it. These kids were gritty, they were tough, and everybody asked the same thing: is this the best team? I said, talent wise, no, but they believed they could win, and they wouldn't quit. A lot of the kids, I always say this as a compliment. So shout out to Colonie. I'm like, you might live in Slingerlands, but you're a Colonie kid. You got toughness, you got grit. You're Colonie and Slingerland's rapper. But yeah, Rex. It was an amazing experience. I said after we won it, I've never had so much joy doing anything with sport, anything, whether it was playing, whether it was coaching, whether it was I've never felt a feeling like this. And to see our kids celebrate and see the looks on their faces, it was wonderful. It really was. I can't describe it. It was great.
So I was just question, how stressful is it coaching those games? No, I mean, did you know every time you went on the field, your team was that just well prepared that, you guys are going to win every game, or did you feel like you're like, we're going to have to, have some pitching come in, some.
Actually, John, it was just the opposite. I'm like, did I cover this? Did I cover that? I don't think I did enough. I don't think we're ready. And I was telling my buddy, he's a Voorheesville guy, Rick Leach. He's around my age, a little older, and we were both saying, because he was a football, wrestling, baseball guy. I played. You're so much more nervous coaching than you ever were playing, and both of you being athletes,
Wow.
once tip off hits, once kickoff, then the nerves go away and you just play, just get in a react mode. As the coach, you're just standing there, and all you can do is think. And I legit was a nervous. Like I try to play it off cool. I even told my assistant, "Hey, whatever happens, just act cool, act relaxed." Meanwhile, I was a nervous wreck. It was the most stressful experience of my life. And I don't know if you know, there's a great coach around here, Curtis Nobles. He's a little younger than you, John. Actually, both you two. He was, I think he played at a Columbia. He played Sorensko, I know. He coaches now for B Spa, and he said it best. He goes, if postseason coaching doesn't take years off your life, you're not doing it right. And it absolutely did. I turned my way. I'm like, I am a wreck, but again, worth every bit of it. It was such a great group of kids. I couldn't be happier. I really couldn't. And I was so actually touched by not only the Bethlehem community, but the cabinet. There were a number of Colonie people that we graduate sending me texts like, "Oh my goodness, I saw you on the news. So happy for you and your team." And it meant every one of them. It meant the world to us. Rex knows I barely use anything. I don't know how to use Facebook. I don't know how to use anything. And I get on my phone after the game, and I think I had 68 texts. There are
Wow.
weeks I don't have more than 4, and 2 of them are my wife.
Wow.
So it was an amazing experience. And I couldn't be more thankful about, from this area, for the Bethlehem community, the county, and just all the people that reached out. It was awesome. It really was. Derek Cummings, who was again another. I was thinking, Derek would have been in the car with us too. He was texting me from San Francisco, like, I was following the game. I was, I'm so happy for you guys. It was awesome, man. It was great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Shout out to DC out in Cali on the West Coast.
Yes.
Just out of
I think it's his birthday. Is today his birthday? He's 50 around.
Oh, happy birthday to DC then.
Yeah.
DC. Yeah, 50, 50. He doesn't even know he's celebrating it on the Colonie Pit right now. But what did you what was your record at the end of the regular season, and what were you seeded going into the sectionals, just out of curiosity?
Okay, lots of weird there. We were 9-3 overall. We tied with Niskuna, who went 9-3, and just the way the system works, we beat Niskuna head to head, and we were the 2 seed and they were the 1 seed. So
Okay.
I don't. It's just one of those things. Like, okay, so we ended up the 2 seed, and we had to play. We started with actually your old stomping grounds, Burnt Hills, and Burnt Hills was dangerous because they whatever, they finished 4 and whatever, but they had a stud ace, a D1 ace, who of course they pitched and was very difficult. Once we beat them, we moved on to was it B Spa, who again Curtis coaches them. They're very well coached. They're always really, really good. We're able to get by them and then beat Averill Park in a 3-game set.
Right,
and that's what moved us on to regionals, where he played East Chester. Is that a Syracuse, I want to say? And then we moved on to states.
Who did you end up beating in the state final?
Oh, wait a second. Now I'm losing it. States, I can never say it right. Hauppauge? It's a Long Island team, Johnny. H-A-P, Hauppauge or whatever.
Yeah.
Geez, what's it now? Yeah, it was a downstate team. They were a Long Island team. And they were good. Yeah. They could hit. But again, to our kids' credit, it was one of those games. We scored a run, they scored a run. We scored 3. We're feeling great. They scored 3. And it was going back and forth. we took the lead, and even though we took the lead, they had runners in scoring position every single inning, and the
Jeez.
kids somehow managed to get out of it. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, there were times on the bus ride home, like, I cannot believe this actually happened. I mean, I can't believe it. Like, it was in the cards, I guess.
When you say that, it remind me of Jerry Tarkanian with the towel in his mouth whenever he was coaching. You just see him chewing on a towel. That's kind of remind me if I was there coaching baseball, just having people in scoring position, I'd be eating the towel all game.
Yeah,
So
gum and
just
seeds.
curious, yeah, just curious that all those kids you think there's going to be a repeat, or those kids graduate, going on, or still a young team?
I would love it. We're about split, junior, seniors. The issue with our seniors, they're all up the middle. And if you know baseball, the majority of stuff goes right up the middle. So from center to short, second, pitcher, those were our seniors. All of our juniors were in the corners and sophomore, and then we have an 8th grader.
Wow.
So next year they're going to have to move and step up and assume some pretty big roles. You know what? Just like this, I think we'll be competitive. The kid that finished the game for us for the state, he's coming back. He threw a no-hitter
Nice.
against B Spa in sectionals. So I think we'll be competitive. Most importantly, and this does sound corny, but it's totally true. You coach long enough, they're good kids. So I'm
Right.
next year is going to be successful. If we win
Nice.
it, we don't win it. They're good kids. They're going to work hard for me, and that's all that counts. I mean, I've had 5 and 11 teams where I'm like, I can't believe we won 5. We probably should have won, but they worked hard. And they did what I asked. So that's all you can ask from a coaching perspective. And these kids actually, they had both. They were very talented, but they also had that they worked hard. They're wonderful kids. There's a thing around here called the Challengers game where you work with special needs kids at Tri Village, which is our local. It's the Colonie Little League of Bethlehem. There are kids coming from our games, still in uniform, rush into the Challenger game just so they could help out. And
Wow.
that's the Tri Village actually honored us. And a guy I didn't even know, a parent, came up and told me that and said how special this group of kids are. And I couldn't agree more. I'm like, what? That's what it's all about. It's wonderful to win, yes, but it's just like having my own kids. You want good kids. You want kids to work hard and to understand like there's more than, it's not just about baseball. It's about being a good person. It's about helping out in the community, all that stuff. And they really did. So I can't speak enough about them.
Wow, that's awesome.
Now that you've won the state championship, and you got, what'd you say, about 5 more years until you retire?
5 more.
Do you think once you retire, do you think you'll still coach baseball in some capacity somewhere, or are you going to be done?
You know what? That's the one thing I would like to still do. I
Yeah.
would not in a head coaching position. And what's bizarre is like I love the coaching aspect, but when you're the head coach, I mean, you're fielding questions. It sounds crazy in November about the end of the year picnic. What's going to be the senior gift? What are our vegan options going to be? Like, it's just even this trip during practice, I'm trying to book a table for 33 people. And I'm trying to find a restaurant and I'm calling around. Whereas like if you take my assistant Rick, he just gets to focus on the baseball aspect because that's the head coach job. He can work with the kids. And that's what I would like to do, give up the reins, but help in some capacity, doing whatever. Because I do. I love it. I tell the kids 8th period, we have an 8-period day. All I'm looking at is, man, we got X amount more minutes before I'm out on that field. And until I don't have that feeling anymore, I'm going to keep doing it.
Nice.
Now, I know your wife, Rachel, is also a teacher in Bethlehem. Does she coach anything?
After seeing me, no.
Shout out to Rachel.
Yes. And it's funny because she was a college soccer player, she's a heck of an athlete. But unfortunately, it eats up so much time. It sounds like somebody's got to be here for the kids. And a sad side note in her defense, like she's a single parent. Once we start in March, 6 days a week, she's the one going to the lacrosse games and the track meets. I will catch up, on my way home, but she has to do everything. So it's really unfair to her. But I think, she would always like to, but there's just no time for her to do that. So no, she's she's done.
All right, cool. John, do you have a question?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, so are you going to retire in 5 years, or do you think you'll continue teaching? Because, like you mentioned, Myers, Kachuto, and I'm just thinking, I remember obviously those guys, and we graduated high school now, what, 31 years, and you mentioned them still going. I was like, man, and those guys were
Well, you
there
know what's
probably in the 70s.
Oh God, who's it? Mr. Gansel. They're
Hmm.
all still involved, and it's great to see him. I mean, it's crazy. My kid runs track for Colonie, so actually, it was Mr. Kashuda. I went up to him like, "There's no way he's going to remember me. I graduated in '92," but I shook his hand. I told him how much he meant to me. I'm like, I always loved your class, and it was so wonderful. He's like, "Thank you so." You could see his face light up, and I know mine does the same thing. My first class, they're in their 40s now. And if I see kids
Wow.
out, you see them at Hannaford, you see them wherever, it's wonderful to shake their hand, and a lot of they're introduced me to their wives, their husbands, their kids. It's great. It's really cool. And honestly,
Nice.
that is that for education, that is the one thing. If for anybody that's looking into it, um, that's what means the most, is that you made a difference in a kid's life. And that was one of the things. Back to this champ, I had so many ex players texted me, and it melted me, man, because I thought they don't forget all about me. One kid had his hat. He goes, I had to find this in my mom's garage. Drove over to his mom's house, found his old BC hat, took a picture going like this, and sent it to me. He's like, I'm so proud of you guys. I mean, it was crazy, but that's what it's about, man. And yes, I will try to hang on. We'll see for a little while. My wife's younger, so she's going to have at least another 8 or 9 years when I'm done. And I still want to be around kids. I still love it. So we'll see. Maybe I'll get into golf and do something else, but I don't think so. I love baseball. I love coaching, and we'll see where it takes me.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit. You said your kids are all into volleyball, right? All three of them?
Yeah, yeah, we're a big volleyball family. Jules is also lacrosse. She's lax,
Oh, okay.
and Joey and Jason also do track and field. But their primary thing is volleyball. Um, Last year, Colonie went from 1-15 to being the 4 seed, which was a huge deal.
Wow.
Joey's actually looking to play maybe club or a D3 once he leaves Colonie, and Jason, as a freshman, is hoping to make varsity. So
Wow.
Wow.
they both do very well. They're both setters, and the main thing is, again, you have kids, Rex. They're happy. They like the sport. They've had a lot of good friends as a result, and we actually joke. I mean, a lot of the friends we still have. The reason we're friends is because we met in Little League. We started playing sports together. The Hessners were on my team in Pee Wees, not even majors. And in Pee Wees, there's pictures of me and Todd and TJ Hessner. We're still friends to this day. So it's yeah, it's a volleyball crew. They love it, and I'm just so happy they found something that they like.
And what grade is your daughter in or finishing up?
She after you got to figure we have 2 more days. So after these 2 days, she's going into sixth. J Man will
Okay.
be ninth, and Joey will be a senior. It's crazy. Don't blink,
Wow.
Rex. Don't blink.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, man. And
No,
it's going to be
no.
awful. Next year at this time, I'm going to be a wreck. I don't want to see him go.
Right. Now, being a volleyball family, I know you travel around and stuff similar to AAU basketball. There's travel volleyball and stuff, which, my son does the basketball travel stuff. And I'm always amazed. I actually posted on this on Facebook about a month ago or so, the cost of travel sports. Just out of curiosity, what is the most amount you ever paid for admission for a travel volleyball tournament? Like,
Me personally, or for the family?
for one person, basically. Was there ever a tournament you were like, oh my God, I can't believe they're charging this much?
I want to say maybe 30, $40 maybe for the weekend pass a
Okay.
person.
All right.
And now you can't publicize this. We would throw Jules in a jersey and say she was a player, just so we wouldn't have to pay.
All right.
Like,
We
Jules,
won't,
put your brother's other jersey.
yeah.
You're gonna
We
save
won't
Daddy forty
publicize.
bucks.
Yeah, we won't publicize it, but we'll just put it on YouTube. Okay. I'm sure no one will see that.
But no, Rex, with it's crazy because, as you know, you're going through it. It's hotels, it's gas, it's tolls, it's food. We go back to back Boston, because now Joey and Jason used to be on the same team. Joey's too old. I want to say 3 grand probably for those 2 weekends. I mean, a
Yeah.
hotel in Boston's 200-300 bucks a night, and then of course everything else and merchandise. They want a sweatshirt. It's pricey. And it's
It's
one
out
of
of
the things that
control.
I really dislike. Not for me. We're pricing kids out of sports, and I hate that.
Yeah.
Everybody should have
I
an opportunity to play. There should be more things available at the youth, more things free. Like have open gym basketball, open gym volleyball, just so kids can come and play. I mean, it's we're pricing kids out, and I don't like it. And you can
yeah.
see that in the suburban council. We are very now Albany, Schenectady, the Big Ten's gone, so we're all connected. We're all in the same league, and you see that Bethlehem has access to things that other kids and other teams don't, especially Colonie. A lot of kids in Colonie don't play travel volleyball because it's so expensive. Everybody in Bethlehem plays travel volleyball because they can afford it, and I don't like that. It's sad, and it's not just volleyball. It's not just it's going to all sports. It's a pay to play, and it's no good. We got to get back to roots of just helping kids, get them
Yeah.
playing, get them having fun. John DeMeo, I always give John DeMeo a shout out. He's a longtime colleague of mine. Johnny, when you were playing, he was the football coach at Bethlehem. Great guy. And he would
Okay.
always say, "There's only two F words on this field. It's going to be focus and fun." And he would always scream it out. He would see that. He would scream that, and it's a great day to be an Eagle. But it's still true. Like let's just bring fun back into sports again and get rid of all this money and craziness. Rex and I would talk about how we play just pickup basketball and love it. We didn't have to drive all the way out to Buffalo or Rhode Island to play basketball. You just come over to my house and we play 2-on-2 in our yard. It was great.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And actually, I wrote a post on Facebook about a month ago about that, and how I think I used the exact same words you did. I said we're pricing kids and their families
Right.
out, and unfortunately, almost every sport now is what I call a country club sport, and except not everyone is a country club family. So that could be a whole topic for another show. But I agree with you on that. But John, any more questions for Matt before we get into our Colonie wrap up?
Yeah, no, actually, just two things. One, and Matt, for that post, I told Rex, sounds like organized crime. We're in the wrong business, to do that. We should actually do that. And also, too, I remember in Pop Warner years ago, it cost us like $135 to participate, but that was it. And when we would go to Shaker High, hundreds of kids out there, having fun and competing, playing Pop Warner. So now I hear these things. I also heard from parents, friends of mine, saying if your child doesn't play like the club sport, they won't be able to compete at the high school level. And I was like, that's preposterous. Like every kid, they said, but that's
Couldn't be less true. And the other issue we're having, we're seeing a huge spike in injuries as a result because kids aren't they're not playing
right.
multiple sports. So you got, there's several girls that I have in class, all tore their ACLs. Well, they're playing 60, 70 game schedules. That's like an NBA schedule. The girl's 14 years old and she's not playing soccer. She's not playing other things, even though she's an incredible athlete, because you have to play this year round and you don't. It's no good.
Wow.
You're seeing talk to PTs, Joey Tremarchi. Talked to a Joey Tremarchi in town here. Shout out to him. He was actually my wife's PT. He's wonderful. And he'll tell you the uptick of injuries of kids 12 to 18 years old that never happened with baseball, because I was at the UCLs, the Tommy Johns. Never happened. John Levy, Mike Howe,
Mhm.
Tony Valeni, Mark, all these guys that threw. Well, they never had injuries because they played basketball in the offseason, football in the
Right.
offseason. Now, kids are throwing year round. They're throwing as hard as they can, and they're snapping their arms because they're not fully
Jeez.
developed. It's no good.
Wow. Yeah.
And
No, that was the one.
yeah,
Oh, no,
they'll
I'm
find
sorry.
you. If you're good, they'll find you. Just so you know, if you throw
Yeah.
95 miles
No,
an
and
hour, you don't need a showcase.
yeah.
You don't need anything. The colleges will find you. Trust me.
No, you're 100% right on that. And the other thing too, it's with your coaching, and something Rex and I had an episode where we were talking about, Colonie's best athletes. And it's the one thing too where I still can remember coaches like Coach Ambrosio, all the coaches that we had still made an impact. And again, it's 31 years later, and I can still tell you what that guy told me when I was 12 years old or whatever, playing JV football. So just, know that you're making an impact on our next generation. So keep up the great work on doing that.
John,
And
I got to tell you, thank you. I got a weird thing as a shout out because you mentioned Coach Ambrosio, who I love, and is one of the reasons I became an educator. I don't know if you've seen Colonie. We have a thing that says Ambrosio Field. It was our last game for JV. My son's on the team. I made him go out there, and we took a picture by that archway. The kids had no idea, but it meant the world to me. I'm like, I'm now coaching
No.
here at Colonie. This was a man that meant the world to me. And again, one of the many things, like, I don't think he ever knew. I wish I told him back in the day. Also, too, funny side note, was a good friend of the John DeMeo guy that they went to Brockport together. They were great buddies.
Oh,
Of
wow.
course, it makes sense. They're both wonderful men that love to help kids. And yeah, it was. I still have the picture, and it means the world to me, especially with my son being there.
No, that's incredible. And also, too, Matt, that's why you made my Colony Best Athletes for that, just because you're all around great guy yourself. But I actually now we'll turn it over to the last questions here. And actually, I'm going to throw a question here. It's not on here, but I'm going to throw it out anyway. Where do you feel most comfortable on when you're playing a sport? Do you feel most comfortable on the diamond, on the volleyball court, or the basketball court?
I would probably say baseball. Baseball is where I feel the most comfortable. I could say basketball, but everybody's so much bigger than I am. It's kind of intimidating. That'll probably be the last one. Shooting around, fine, but the minute somebody guards me, I'm like, oh, this is challenging. But probably baseball, and then volleyball, and then basketball in that order. But yeah, baseball is where I'm most comfortable.
All right.
John, you might as well just go right into your other
okay.
questions.
So the next one, you just turned 21. Where are we most likely to find you? So you turned 21, you're at that age. We're going to find you at Michael's, Tommy's, the Heritage, the Big House, or Garcia's with the fried ice cream.
Ooh. See, I was going to go, I'm all in on the Heritage. You know, the Heritage. That was our spot. But Rexy and I still remember taking, I don't know how, was it Chad was working? Was it Chad? I think it was Chad. We took a limo. We had a limo service to Garcia's. I don't know if you remember that. It was the greatest. We felt like such big shots, you know?
We did.
So I would say Garcia's.
Yeah, I remember the limo ride. What they were doing is they had a limo shuttle that would go from Garcia's to the Colonie Community Center.
The community center.
Cars at the community center. It was the most ridiculous thing because the community center was like
it was this far away,
50 yards. There was like one.
It was like an 8-iron away.
And like Matt and I were walking out, and it's probably like 1:30 in the morning or whatever. Yeah. That's usually when we would walk out, and I think it was Chad or Chucky were like, "You want to take the limo to your car?" We were like, "Sure." Like, I think I'd even been in a limo at that point. We got in. We thought we were like Miami Vice cool at that point. And I remember I was saying, like, "Can you just keep going?" And the guy was like, "No, I'm just taking you to your car." Like that's it. It was like literally a 30-second limo ride. We thought we were the bomb.
But it was awesome.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
So actually,
I went to my mom's to eat.
So actually, Rex, just one quick. So Matt, where did you celebrate your 21st birthday?
Well, you know what? I was in Cortland. So if memory serves, and it would have been a little memory was tough back in those days. It would have been Murphy's, if you remember Murph's.
Yep.
We probably went to Woody's. Where else would we? Maybe Balducci's. We definitely bar hopped. Worst thing was I being smaller, I always got carded. I still remember it. The day I turned 21, they didn't ask for my ID. I was so pissed.
Nice.
So, and actually,
bars,
sweating it out. I was going to say, my ID going to work? Is my ID going to work? I'm finally 21. They didn't even care.
my last follow-up question: did you participate in beer and bagels?
Yes, I did. Yes, we did. We did. Todd Johnson, to this day, Todd Johnson and Mike Tremarchi, I'll never forget it, woke me up to drink. I've never had this experience. I had to, in bed, come on, buddy, you got to get up. We got to start drinking. It's Cortica. No, it was Block Party. Yep. Not Cortica. It was Block Party. And there was a picture of us, rubbing our eyes. I think we were in boxer shorts, and we all had a beer. All right, I guess we're starting at 9:30 in the morning, because that was early back in college days. And I definitely was Block Party or Groton, the Block Party, Groton, Clayton Street. Senior year.
I remember that.
It was ugly, but a lot of fun.
All right. Our last episode, as we've mentioned throughout, we had our episode about greatest Colonie athletes, male athletes of the 80s and 90s. And John, myself, and a couple other guys, we each gave our GOAT athlete, the greatest, along with our first, second, third teams. We don't have time to go through all those picks right now, but we'll give you the opportunity to give your GOAT pick of Colonie athletes for the 80s and 90s. You can only name one person. Who was the best?
Man, I got Chucky, I got Chad, I got Dave Gamble.
You got to pick one. You can't give the John
I gotta
Martinez answer and say they were all good.
They're all phenomenal. You know what? Chad was probably the best over. I mean, just sheer size and strength and speed. But my heart goes out to Dave Gamble. We were friends with Dave. My father loved Dave Gamble from Little League and Babe Ruth. I still remember, true story. I don't know if you ever went to the Yankee trips with the Little League. Dave Gamble stole a beer or two and threw up on the mess. My father took care of it. But you know what? Given the fact that he has a Super Bowl ring, I'm going to say Dave Gamble. But boy, Chucky and Chad, can we just go all three? They were phenomenal. I mean, you don't get any better.
Right. You're going to
All
go
three
the
of
John
them should be in
Martinez
the Hall of
route.
Fame. I know only one is. All three of them better be in the Hall of Fame. They deserve it. I mean, it was Chad. I can remember playing hoop with, and it was like a man amongst boys. It was ridiculous.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, no, great pick. And actually, that's what I had to say. Rex tried to break me down, but I had to stick firmly to my guns. All right, here we go. Favorite place to go school shopping back in the day? Favorite place to go school shopping? Sears, Macy's, or the infamous Champion Outlet?
I'd have probably gone in the middle there. For school shopping, I would have said Sears. No, what Macy's was out of our price range. Sears with a coupon to get the Levi's and the one T-shirt, the one Nike T-shirt. But yeah, having an older brother, I just got all of his crap. I didn't get much new stuff. But yeah, I would probably say Sears. With that said, I'm sure me and Rex would have gone to the Champion Outlet and gotten a few things with the change from Sears.
No, I remember one year we definitely went to Champion Outlet like a week before school and walked in there with like maybe like $12, and I was wearing like Southwest Dakota State Technical School T-shirt or something. They had like these schools you had never heard of, but it was like literally $1 a T-shirt, and we would just rack them up. We go through the bins and kill it.
I look for anything that was 34. I love Kirby Puckett. I love Bo Jackson. So same thing, Weber State or whatever. If it had a 34, I took it. And looking back, those things, I think they were awful. But for $4, $3, how can you go wrong?
It was awful. Like but we were there.
You'll be shocked to know, Rex, I still have a couple of those, just so you know.
I don't doubt that for a second.
If there's a part 3 where we're doing, I'll bring out all my old clothes.
All right. My next question was going to be, who was your favorite hip hop crew? But we kind of already answered that in part 1 is Public Enemy. So I guess I'll switch it to your favorite either Public Enemy song or your favorite Public Enemy album. Either one.
Ooh. Oh, boy. Jeez, that's a great question. Well, first off, one I'll give props to, and it's because I got to give Freddie Mac some props. We always warmed up to Big Daddy Kane. I Get the Job Done. That's how we came out for JV basketball. So that was still like an anthem. Back in the day, he would call me Big Daddy Matty because I loved the song so much. Fear of a Black Planet. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. One of those two. And you know what? I got Apocalypse 91 is still phenomenal. Again, tough questions. It's like Chucky Chad. But let's put them all three together and just hit shuffle. Okay. Get that 60 CD changer in the car. You know what I'm saying?
Fine, whatever. I'm the only decisive one on the Colonie Pit.
All right, Don't Believe the Hype. I love Don't Believe the Hype.
Don't Believe the Hype.
And that was Dave Gamble coming out to Don't Believe the Hype senior year when I was a freshman. So we'll go with Don't Believe the Hype. Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Let's go with that one then. Again, I'm going to stick with Dave down the line, all the way down the line.
All right. Shout out to DG. All right. John, you got one left and I got one left. Let's go.
Yep. So here we go. For our Yankee fans, have you seen a baseball game at Heritage Park? And question B, have you played a baseball game at Heritage Park?
Both. I loved Heritage Park. Definitely went to games there. And you know what, sad side note? I drive by there and it's it's an empty. It's sad to see what it's become. But no, when we played there, God, it was. I'm trying to think. It was T.J. Trombley was on, so it was my senior year, and I think we played Shaker there and beat him up. And I still
Oh, wow.
remember. I think. Well, I know he was behind me, so I was at third. He was at second. It must have been like a John Levy or Art Eastman or a Brian hit a shot. And it was like a base clearing shot, and I still remember celebrating at home plate again, like it was yesterday. It was 1992. And yes, I used to love Heritage Park. If you know Vito Yaya, he used to be a bat boy there. Still has stuff, Derek Jeter stuff, Mariano Rivera stuff. It goes back to, I think he had like prime time when Deion Sanders was there. It's crazy. It was so many phenomenal Yankees went through there, and now it's gone. It's really sad to see. But no, I always loved Heritage Park.
Cool. All right. Last question, and you're going to be the first person we ever ask this question to.
Ooh,
So
all right, let's do it.
And this is a question. There's only two options, so you have to be decisive on it.
Oh boy.
Ready? Wolfpack or Raider?
Oh my goodness, not even Raiders. Come
All
on
right.
now. We're
Right.
Raiders, guys.
Gotta ask the
Stop
question.
this.
Gotta ask the
No,
question.
not even a question. And believe it or not, I still have some of my Raiders gear, Pat.
I do believe this.
You'll be shocked. But
believe that.
no, it was sad to see. I mean, I get it to a degree, but I don't know. I'm still a Colonie Raider. I always will be.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So that could be a whole nother episode,
Yeah.
but
I'll tell you, if you ask our general, like my kids, they'll get mad because they hate this Wolfpack. Like the kids,
oh really?
Nobody wanted to be Wolfpack. We
right.
were all still the Raiders. In fact, it's funny, the travel leagues, like Jules plays for the Colonie Raiders, like lacrosse club team.
Okay.
So a lot of stuff is still Raiders. I'm sure, like Pop Warner, Little Leagues, they're still the Raiders. But hey, what are you gonna do?
That's all right.
There's worse things in this world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We got
If that's
bigger problems.
Yeah, that's your biggest problem. Life is good.
Yeah. I think we're all right. But anyway, Maddie, thank you for joining us on the Colonie Pit. It was a pleasure. Please give our best to your family. Give our best to your mom, Marcia Rehbit, great woman.
Will do.
Your mom and my mom are very similar, so I always loved your mom. She was always the nicest woman when I came over there. So
thank you. I will. And guys, this is awesome. Thank you for including me on this. Again, it's one of those things I don't have social media. And there was something on Facebook. My wife saw it. I said, "This is really cool." There was also, I want to give a shout. Maddie Halleck said something on Facebook, congratulating our team. I don't even know how to do it, so shout out to Maddie Halleck. He's doing that Halleck Hitting Garage. I'd love to see him, see what he does. I think he's coming locally this summer. I'm going to go out and see him just to take in a session and say hi to him. Great guy. He's doing a wonderful job. Again, another guy still doing baseball, which makes me thrilled. But yes, thank you for having me. I guess I got to get a Facebook account now, or whatever it is, Snapchat, YouTube. I don't have any of this stuff.
YouTube.
I'm using my wife's phone, for God's sake. She had to do this for me.
Awesome.
Jim, you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, I was going to say, Matt, thanks again for coming on. It was great catching up again. Congratulate on all your successes from Cortland to Bethlehem and all parts in between, and keep up the great work. And on that note, for everyone else, another Colonie athlete down, and we have some more in the pipeline to come up. So on that note, like Rex said, subscribe and follow, and catch up with more of our Colonie alumni. Until next time.